live on this fine Thursday night, which has just witnessed another one-sided encounter. 3 days in a row, you got one-sided encounter. We kind of got used to very close encounters, but it's a clear-cut winner that Rajasthan Royals are. Gargi is very happy she got her first bit of a prediction right, but it's a long game.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting that big of a margin when it came to the CSK loss. Of course, there's always a chance that CSK will lose, but looking at the recent performances, the way they've been batting, I wasn't expecting them to lose to RR.
No, that's because, see, I'll tell you why. Why is it that me and Shane went with Rajasthan? Not why you thought. You thought because CSK fantastic batting.
Yes.
But two reasons. One, because this ground, which is said, not a very high scoring ground in the IPL. But once Rajasthan got it, didn't mean that CSK will get it. Also because I think Rajasthan is one of the best bowling units in this IPL.
True.
So it's been very, very tough to get above par. So I think what CSK have got right now is a par total. Which is why when we were sitting mid-innings and we said Chennai have got a big total, they were way above par. So Rajasthan were way above par. So if you're Chennai right now, I don't think they batted badly. They'd be okay because they got par total. I think where they lost the match was with their bowling. And I'm only seeing it in context of where they played, what the conditions were on offer. So what they gave was 30 runs too many to Rajasthan. And from there on, it had to be an extraordinary effort for them to have won it, which obviously didn't happen.
Yeah, because when we said 202, see 202 in say Chinnaswamy would be par. But 202 at Savai Mansingh, which has always been somewhat on the low side, was always above par. And we knew that once we saw how many runs the CSK spinners had given, which wasn't many. The spinners did really well, who got tonked. And really, if you look at it, what was the key difference between both sides? The power play. Rajasthan got off to a flyer. Yashasvi Jaiswal took such a liking to Akash Singh that he only bowled 2 overs. Whereas if you look at, say, the scorecards for Chennai, you'll realize that really they didn't get a good start at all. They, I think in the first 2 overs, didn't hit a single boundary. Their first boundary of the match came in the 3rd over. And see, Rituraj, to be fair, picked up the pace later on. Devon Conway, I think one problem which I've always noticed with him is that if he doesn't cut loose early on, or if he gets a ball which is moving around a bit early, tends to go into his shell. He'll not look to attack afterwards. And 8 of 16 you don't associate with Conway. Yeah. You don't. Very uncharacteristic.
What were your predictions of Ajinkya Rahane?
I had said 30. He got half of it.
I had said 40.
I said 56.
I had said 12. He's got 15. I said law of averages will catch up.
I'll be mean and say that this was a vintage Rahane innings.
Oh no.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
What we saw previously was like out of the ordinary, and this is the Rahane we all knew.
Yeah. No, but I mean, to be fair to him,
not the easiest.
You had such good innings. There was a time that you were bound to fail, right? Yeah. I mean, nobody is invincible. Nobody is going to be like getting those kind of knocks that Rahane was. Even if Rahane himself would be pinching himself every day saying that, oh, I'm living a dream, but would also know that sooner or later there will be a knock here and there. We're not going to get runs. I think there's no batsman, even at the peak of Virat Kohli in the IPL, he must have had a few knocks like this in that season where he got 973.
But even that was like a otherworldly kind of thing. Even Kohli himself admits that sometimes I myself didn't know how it was happening. It just happened.
So you're in a zone, right? It happens. Yep. It happens.
All those years of practice catch up to you.
Yeah, no, but a lot of times.
Muscle memory.
Yeah, but a lot of time you go outside your muscle memory. I'll give an example. If there's an interview of Virat Kohli's where he talks about playing in Australia in the 2014 series where he was outstanding, right? So he talks about the fact that he when he was a younger kid used to watch Rahul Dravid and all bat in Australia. He would sometimes see that to succeed in Australia, you needed a very long front foot stride, and he would see them play and he'd be like, wow, they have that. And he would then look at his game, and his wasn't that sort of a game, right? He is more of a crease sort of a player, just a little bit of front foot that he extends and plays. So he's like, I'll never be able to play like that. So this is what he's telling himself when he's watching as a teenager, watching the likes of Rahul Dravid, and he never practices that, right? He plays his natural game. Then comes 2014 and he plays the kind of knocks that he did. he says that he goes back and watches his own knocks on television and say, my stride is as big as that, and he's not done it consciously. There's no muscle memory that he practices. Exactly. So what happens? Human body is amazing. It reacts to things, based on what? Based on things that are subliminally there somewhere in your head, which you've never practiced it, your muscle doesn't know, but it's your mental memory that goes and you end up playing certain shots that you're watching over and over again. Your body kind of gets used to it and can execute it while you've not practiced. So I'm guessing sometime those things happen. So that particular season, I'm sure you end up playing it, and then when you see yourself, you say, I'm batting like that, like I don't think I can bat like that, but you are batting like that. So it's in a zone, right? You go into a different, higher state of consciousness, if I can say.
I have a somewhat similar story from Jitesh Sharma. He had told me about that he practices. What he did was, when he wasn't doing so well in the domestic, he was set on practicing one single shot, an extraordinary shot, for a year.
Okay.
So he would learn one shot for the whole year. And now that he's doing well in the IPL, those shots come out,
Yeah, but in his case, he's practicing. I'm talking about the ones that you just don't practice. Imagine. I mean, I'll give you a personal example. Like now, in the sense, like if I'm batting, I was never the guy who would dance down a wicket, right? That was like a no for me, because in those days we were told like you always got to be in the crease, never risk, of course, to the spinners, but I would never do it. Sometime now, because we have the benefit of watching our own knocks, there are sometimes that I see myself dancing and hitting it, and I was like, that's not me. I couldn't have been doing it. I don't do it consciously. Because you know what happens? You keep watching it on TV, you keep figuring it out, and you keep replaying those things in your head. And I'm guessing it happens with everyone. But as I said, it happens at that level. But it becomes a habit watching it so many times. At that, you instinctively do it without practicing, and then later, if you have the benefit of watching it on video, you'd be like, how's that happening? I never do it.
I think that's what intent also is. I mean, you're not practicing for it, but the situation comes up and your body just does it. Because you're in that zone, you're in that mind frame that you want to do something like that.
Correct, which is why I'm saying human mind and human body is incredible. It's beyond our understanding.
You're talking about that personal thing. I remember something very random, old memory of my own. This is from a different sport, football. Now, I used to play, when I'd play prof regularly, midfielder, never someone who tackled, mind you. One time in some tournament game, instinctively, I'm one-on-one with a goalkeeper, ball gets overrun. I'm thinking keeper's going to collect. I have no idea. I've never done it. I did one thing which I have never done before and never done since. A slide tackle. Poked it beyond him. Never done it. I do not slide tackle because I was always on the heavier side. I'm like, I am not sliding. I will injure myself and injure the opponent. Not doing it. Did it that one time. I still haven't figured out how I did it. So if you're mentally, you've watched it happen enough times, sometimes you'll just do it.
Exactly. So your mind, it's gotten used to that, and it just then in a way guides your body to execute that particular thing. So which is incredible. I mean, that's why I say.
That's why a lot of people, when they talk about sport, this is not so much sometimes about practice, but the mental side of things. Because if you believe you can do it, that's half your challenge won.
Which is why now visualization is such an important part. So I mean, I've heard basketball players talk about before they take the free throw, that they visualize that the free throw is gone in this way. Once you do, then you take that free throw, swish, it goes in, right? So
that's about psyching yourself out, knowing, okay, I'll shoot, it'll go in.
Go ahead.
And just
go up, Anurag.
And then when you visualize that before you take the shot,
just
hit the shot. And there we go.
Just go Nietzsche. So Kumar Gaurav has a point. He says it happened with him. So he says his season has started. I'm guessing cricket. He says I tend to move towards the off stick as my trigger movement, and it works for him. So correct. So see, what I'm saying is, like in Kumar's case, he may not have practiced it, but because he sees certain players or one of his favorite players do it over and over again, automatically that trigger movement comes and you start doing it. So, as I said, I experienced it myself. I never danced down the wicket, but then when I saw myself jumping out of my crease to hit a spinner, I was like, how is that happening?
Just FYI, last Sunday you did it.
Exactly my point. And a few times before that, I was like, I never practice it, I never do it. I'm so conscious about it that I'll rather, if it's in my front foot area, I'll take my front foot out. And more often than not, if it's a short ball for which people go out of the crease, I'll always play
rock back and
always, always on the back. That's my simple funda playing a spinner. I don't know how, where, just turns down and hit it. That's what I'm saying. Because you're watching cricket, there's something in your memory which tells you to do it. So that's okay. Coming back to our cricket, enough of philosophical discussion that we did about, what happens in the higher state of consciousness. The Zen mode. No, so coming back to the match today, we expected Rajasthan would be clinical with their bowling. That they were. I think some of those foreign big names didn't pull their weight. You would want a Conway to do the job for you. I know Moin did play that cameo, but maybe if he had batted slightly better, could have got them closer. But the one worth mentioning from CSK is Dube, man. He's having a season. Yeah.
Dube is smoking them all over.
Dube is.
I mean, he's in some other level, because I remember talking to people when I used to watch him play, and I'd say he has a body language that looks as if he's very, very nervous. But this time...
But you know what? That's interesting, because he said this. Have you seen his interview? So what he said? No, so I was reading an interview, and whether he said it or somebody that his game is all about confidence. I don't know whether he said it. So he's a very confident sort of player.
Right.
And he says, or somebody else said, that it's MS who kind of gave him that confidence.
True.
I remember that quote. So the quote was, MS said 6 words to him: "You're a beast, just be fearless."
And one is saying it, and he backed it up with action, where if you remember, he didn't have a great season last time around. Okay, he middling sort of a season. He had a few good games. I think started off well and then tapered off, something like that. So didn't have a great season, that much I remember. But what he does this season, once again starts with him. Again doesn't start well this season, but then backs him. And then after those 2-3 games when he got into his groove, so I'm saying one is to give confidence to your player, saying you're a beast. You're the man, you'll do it, I know you. But then when he's failing, also backing him up to make him realize, yes, even if he had any doubts that Acha is just telling me I'm the man, but then he played one game, didn't work. He says, still playing me, still playing. I must be the man, yaar. I must be the guy. I must be it. And then you explode. So this is the quote. Anurag so quickly and very efficiently has brought it out for us. He says, my bhai once told me something that those are the most encouraging and motivating words for me. You're good, just be fearless. So he's a confidence player.
The reason it's available this quickly is because this is part of the video I did yesterday.
Whatever.
Good job though, remembering.
Don't take credit away from him. He did a great job to bring it out so quickly. So he's a confidence player. Also, see, when I also feel that the Indian team is kind of unfair to him. He got a few games. I think he did reasonably well. Yes, didn't have a few great games, but then you never gave him an extended run. Right. I think just as with some players, you've given them a long rope. With him, you didn't give him, and you got to realize most of the time he was, in the sense, discredited for his bowling performance, where he apparently got tonked a few times.
34 runs, Taylor.
And so that's when he's not good enough. But all I'm saying is that,
give him a chance.
Maybe with the batting, had he continued to be a good batsman and rarely a bowler, that confidence may have then shown in his bowling as well. But I don't think you gave him that long. So as I said, some people are lucky, some are kind of unlucky. And I think Dube was unlucky at the time that he was playing for India.
Also Vijay Shankar.
No, I would say Venkatesh Iyer more than Vijay Shankar. Same boat. Because played a few games, didn't do too bad.
Venkatesh Iyer also is Tam friend. So
no. What is
from MP.
He's from MP.
Oh, his full-on connection from MP and of Tamil origin. Perfect.
I mean, if you go by that logic, absolutely. Venkatesh Iyer, because see, that was the golden opportunity for him to nail that all-rounder spot. Because Hardik Pandya wasn't bowling. But he didn't get an extended run. Same with Vijay Shankar.
I agree. No, I don't agree with Vijay Shankar, but I agree with Venkatesh Iyer.
In fact, with Venkatesh, what's really
I agree. You hurried him into the Indian team. That wasn't his fault.
Yes.
That's not Venkatesh Iyer. But now when you got him, then you should have given him a long run. What you did is you made him play a few games up top, didn't succeed. Then you told him now you need to be a finisher. You start batting lower down the order. There he was starting to just begin his career. There also, then you cut that chance off very soon. So you are unfair to Venkatesh.
And the funny part,
just as you were to Dube,
and also to Vijay Shankar.
and the funny
Of course, in the middle of that conundrum, who caused that number 4 selection?
what did Vijay Shankar do after that in IPL? Look at what Venkatesh Iyer is doing, whatever Dube is doing.
After 2019,
did Vijay Shankar do any
when
of
that
that?
one match he got injured, was never picked after that. Was never picked. And because
I am saying okay, fine, unfair. But what did you do in IPL after that?
He's doing well now. He
Well,
missed one season.
Is he doing as well as Venkatesh Iyer does?
Or Dube?
Is he doing, yes, or what
Dube is doing it now. That season, 2020, he had a very middling
He
season.
is not. So show me a season where Vijay Shankar is.
He's doing well now.
What is well?
No, I'm sorry. The one well
This has gone down the well.
No, the one well he's done was in innings where he was overshadowed by Rashid Khan's hat-trick and Rinku Singh's 5 6s.
But one off, no?
Just
well,
that's it.
That's still not well.
No, but he did well.
That's down the well.
He did well in 3-4 good games.
He did well in 3-4
See, the
good games.
Indian deep state ensured.
Okay,
Deep
vote
state.
for
Oh, please, Anurag, poll.
what?
Who was more unfairly treated? Dube, Venkatesh Iyer, Vijay Shankar?
Sanju Samson fans will rise from the dead.
No, Sanju Samson, I agree only, but he'll win the poll.
But Sanju Samson.
Sanju Samson will win the poll. So we're
that's
not
what
putting
I'm
it.
saying.
So we're not putting it. Now we're putting it where it's a contest is close.
Anyway, this is vintage Sanju Samson. Back to that same old inconsistency
Point.
that's having.
If I say that, I said it last time, then I got a lot of trolling because of that. Because just like Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, Sanju Samson also has a online army. So that day, I was that game where he played well. I gave him credit for that. But I said between Sanju Samson and Hetmeyer that day, I will make Hetmeyer the man of the match. But for that, a lot of trolling happened that, Sanju hater. Now my point is, I'm not saying anything. You please see, do you notice the trend? And I used to say this earlier, I also like Sanju Samson. I'm a big fan of his. But I'm saying if you are a Sanju Samson and you want to be in the Indian team regularly, then do a 800 run IPL season. You're captain, you bat top of the order. And if you're going to be competing with, at the moment, the batsmen I'm saying the middle order, you're competing with Surya Kumar Yadav, Virat Kohli, those are the guys that are batting in the middle order, or Shreyas Iyer, or a lot of them have got plenty of runs in an IPL season. So he needs to, and I'm saying one season like that, but every season there seems to be a trend. He'll come off the blocks, all guns blazing, maybe hit 100 also, and then taper off. So that consistency is an issue, and I guess that is something that he needs to rectify. I like him. But you can hate me as much as you want, but that's the truth.
You didn't say it. No, I'll say it. He's inconsistent.
No,
he is horribly
problem.
Yeah, he's horribly inconsistent because he has all the talent in the world, and that's what makes him more frustrating. In fact, I'll be quite frank. A lot of people do point out that I'm very harsh on KL Rahul. You know why that's the case? Because the guy is actually talented. Yeah. If I had no hopes from him, I wouldn't be harsh on him.
But can I tell you one thing? With the KL Rahul, I agree that he's getting all the flack. But look at KL now. Compare it with Sanju Samson.
Yes.
Take out each IPL season, right? Look at, he's far more consistent than him.
Exactly.
He's been in the top 3-4 run getters
every
season. Yet he gets a lot of hate. I'm okay with that because people, question his strike rate. And by the way, strike rate in certain seasons have been very good. It's just the last 2 seasons where it's been questionable. Yet he gets a lot of hate. But please compare the numbers of the two in IPL seasons, the last 5-6 seasons. Just take out the numbers, you'll see the difference in that. So if KL Rahul can be trolled and in certain occasions correctly, then I'm sure the questions can be asked of Sanju as well. But as soon as you ask that question, you get so much abuse and hate on social media, I can't tell you.
Batting wise, he's inconsistent. But that is tapered over. The cracks haven't tapered over. Why? As a captain, he's doing well. Number one, Rajasthan.
Yeah, but you're not
selecting him as a captain.
For a captain for the Indian team.
Exactly.
That Sanju Samson fans, they don't want to listen to that. See, he's doing well as captain. End of.
See, I mean, even last year, by the way, last year also, in the early half of this thing, during the group stages, it was Butler mostly was batting well. In the knockouts, it was Yashasvi Jaiswal. I'm sorry, but Sanju Samson did precious little with the bat towards the later parts of last year, and that includes their run to the final. Fact.
Yes, again, he had a typical middling season. Middling season.
Yeah.
And that is the reason why it's infuriating. He's an infuriating enigma, you may say. Because You expect a lot more from him, but again, very inconsistent. But here, as a captain, man, he is on cloud 9 at this point.
The problem is you're not selecting a captain,
Exactly.
and that's the thing. It's like we already have enough captains now, I feel, and you can't make someone a captain. This is not South Africa, circa Graham Smith, that you'll just pick someone and make them captain early on. I don't think that's
No,
possible.
that was a good call.
Oh, that was a great call. I loved Graham Smith. Wonderful, wonderful.
I mean, they gave him that captaincy. Clearly, they saw something in that young kid, and he went on to become one of the best
And
captains for
captained
South
over
Africa.
100 tests.
One of the best, or isn't he the most successful captain?
No, for South Africa.
South Africa he is.
World, I think he's third, the third
Yeah.
most successful captain.
For South
Second or
Africa,
third?
yes.
That's not bad
Though-
considering.
Though I mean, I'd always rate Cronje as the best captain they had. But I mean, again, you look at numbers. So numbers are always, number of games that you play. Your wins will also be that much.
Yeah.
Also,
And
Cronje
Cronje
has that one big asterisk.
Correct. I'm saying, okay, imagine this. I'm not justifying it, but imagine he was so good as a captain, despite the fact that now it comes to light that he was actually losing a few. I mean, can you believe
The
it?
Centurion Test match. Innings forfeiture, double innings forfeiture.
But that he got so much of praise for.
I
Later,
know.
you realize that it was actually a game that he
It was
faced.
against the rules.
Also,
of the
when
game.
Graham Smith came in, I think the situation in South Africa was also very unstable. Sorry,
It
not
wasn't
unstable.
unstable.
It was.
No.
It was.
The main point was you bungled up on a DLS calculation in the World Cup. After that, they said no. Sean Pollock himself said, I just can't captain.
No, but I'm
So
talking
Graham
about
Smith.
the other things.
What other
The
thing?
political
No,
situation.
the
and all
political
of that.
system unfortunately fell apart from 2008 onwards. 2008 or 2012 onwards. It reached its ugliest crescendo in 2015.
15, yeah.
Yeah.
Ugliest crescendo. And since then it's persisted even now.
Kyle Abbott.
Kyle Abbott. Why did Kyle Abbott go callback? Because of this simple reason. But I don't know whether it's divine intervention or something. Callback is now scuppered because of Brexit.
That's not divine intervention. That's something
Who would
else.
have thought Brexit would happen?
True. That's not divine.
That's not divine intervention, my friend.
He's offended.
Yep. I can understand why.
That's blasphemy.
Yeah.
Okay. What is it that you want us to read, Anurag? Achha, no, I thought maybe there's something. We'll read it anyway if you want me to. So, MS Dhoni says the target was quite a bit over par.
Yep.
See,
Of course.
he does, agree with us lesser mortals in sports today.
Yes.
So he says the reason were the first six
six
overs that gave
Yes.
too many runs. That's correct. But at the same time, the pitch was best to bat on at that time. Fair point. Even when they were finishing, the edges kept going for boundaries. I know. You're looking at Padikkal and you're saying those two edges for four. Patirana. So they got par plus score and we were not able to stop the runs. I felt his bowling was very good. Patirana. Which
course.
we all agree. In the scorecard, it will not show. It will show more than 10 runs and over. But boy, was he deadly! Really cranking it up with his pace today and nailing those Yorkers. In fact,
Sorry.
no, go ahead.
One of the balls I saw, the speed was 149 kilometers.
151.
He had 151 also, Patarana. He was really ramping it up.
Yeah. And did I say that his action is even more difficult than Malinga?
Yeah.
Because I felt Malinga still came from here.
Yeah.
He is literally coming from here.
And not
Like,
just
literally coming from
And not just that, with Malinga, the way he started, like his trigger movement for bowling, you could always tell he was going to be slingy. The first time I saw Patrana bowl, and even now, it looks like he's going round arm. At the last minute,
Yeah.
I do not want to be his right shoulder in 5 years' time.
Even now. Imagine the workload.
Imagine the neck. See how his neck falls.
Whip.
The whiplash effect that comes. But Separamadu Lasith Malinga will be very happy from that dugout. Yes. One of my apprentices is actually doing a good job.
How today he was doing it against his team.
Against him. Yeah, but still, from Sri Lanka's perspective, you've got two bowlers who have gotten the Malinga lookalike kind of
No,
bowler.
plus whatever said, he is getting free mentoring from MS Dhoni also.
Of course. Mali and Mahi together are shaping up.
Mali and Mahi.
Mali,
Did
yes.
Pathirana learn from Malinga or something? As in not learn,
No,
but
I
did he
think-
watch and...
Yeah, he was
adopted that
inspired
action.
by him.
There
Yeah.
are two bowlers who have been inspired by Malinga. Their action is very similar. One is Nuwan Tushara. Nuwan Tushara, you look at his bowling action, very similar to Lasith Malinga. Patirana, on the other hand, has got a slightly more, his head falls by the wayside. Whereas with Malinga and Tushar, they would look up kind of and then would sling.
Yeah.
Here, it just goes down.
Yeah, it's lower than that. It's like literally here.
Lower than sea level.
I mean, frankly, I love Lasith Malinga. I picked him as the GOAT, but I still feel that you need to look at this. This is not fair. I mean, I'm not saying it's illegal. It's legal in the rules that they are, but you need to relook at the rules. The arm cannot be coming from side on like this. Yeah, more and more bowlers will do it.
Isn't there a rule that your arm shouldn't go lower?
Yeah,
than
then the shoulder, but then that's also too much, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying it should actually, like, just like you have a 15 degree here, there should be something, I don't know, 30 degree maybe.
Also,
not
that
more
will
than
also just ensure the longevity of the bowler. If
that's
not
another
anything
matter,
else.
but I'm just saying it's
unfair.
not bowling anymore. Like sling action or slingshot action was, let's say, what Jeff Thompson had, right? So it was slingy, but the arm would still come here, right?
Like a Mitchell Johnson in later years. I think his was acceptable to the point where his whip would come from say here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's fine. But this, when it's literally coming from here, then it's not bowling. I don't know. Maybe I'm old school. Then it seems just like baseball throwing, that you are not allowed to bend your elbow. That's the only difference.
It's just giving a unique dimension to bowling, I would say.
But I don't know. I'm not a big fan.
See,
I'm not a
Malinga would not have been successful. He gave bowling an X factor. The problem is, others are copying him. That's another thing altogether.
Well, now you can't blame them from copying, and now I think more and more bowlers might start becoming like that, which is why I'm saying that there's a problem there.
Because see, look at what is happening with Patirana and Malinga. What are the two things? If they are accurate, they are deadly accurate. The Yorker is nailed at the stumps on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
Because it was a simple thing. Malinga, he would nail the shoe, would whack that shoe consistently. Who's inspired Bumrah? It's Malinga.
And worked with him also, am I?
With him. Malinga is that X factor bowler that every team should have had about 20-30 years before to give bowling a separate. Why do you think nobody can copy Muralidharan? Because his arm and his action is such.
No, but in his case there was a issue, right?
A deformity which kind of helped.
Exactly.
360 degree his wrist.
Yeah, but that's another thing. I'm saying this now more and more bowlers will start doing it. Wait and watch, and then bowling will become like that fast.
I mean,
which I'm not a big fan.
Vinay Kumar could bowl Gale with a slingshot action like that,
but wasn't effective because he was a regular,
right arm,
front on bowler, and then suddenly if he's changing to bring a variation, he'll never be as effective with that variation. It'll only be a surprise ball.
Yep.
So it'll never be. But with this, with your regular ball is like that. I don't know. I just think because see, there are other advantages you're getting throwing the ball like that. Maybe the ball's not going to bounce as much, and if you like to time it, hit in the center, suddenly you're getting used to a bounce of a wicket with ball coming from proper over the shoulder to one other bowler who will get a different bounce because of his slinging action. So I think there's a lot of unfair advantage, but as I said, I could be wrong. People might
credit
differ.
to Sri Lanka for giving two X-factor bowlers in this 21st century. One is Malinga and the guy who brought back the carom ball,
Mendes. Yeah, Mendes. No, that way even Murali. They've one thing about Sri Lankan cricket is that they've allowed. See what used to happen with India. Now it's changing. When we were kids playing cricket, there was. You could only hit a ball like this way. So there was only one way of hitting a cover, right? There was only one way of taking the ball, seaming out or bringing it in. You were just told, follow the thing. If you're not doing it, if you are just out of the ordinary, the coaches will work with you as a kid so that you come into the fold and then bowl like everyone else. It's great credit to those coaches in Sri Lanka who at the lower level allowed a Lasith Malinga to continue bowling like that, or allowed a Muthiah Muralidharan. It would have been very tough. I'm telling you, in India, no matter where you go, whichever part of the country, it's so regimented that there are certain things that are put into place, and I'm sure there must have been freak bowlers, right? But somehow or the other, when they started playing some formalized cricket, they would have come back to bowling the way it is, or how, because they would have been said injury ho jayega, ball nahi jayega, swing nahi hoga, won't go. So you come back to bowling regularly, which they didn't do.
And it was a big, you may say a boon for them that they were out of Colombo. Malinga is not from Colombo. Muralidharan is not from Colombo. So is Mendes. Because Colombo had such a regimented school system and such a regimented way of bowling, batting, their approach to it, luckily guys like Jayasurya, Muralidharan and all came from outside of Colombo to show them like we play cricket this way as well.
Yeah.
So that is why glad that they came out of that regimented Colombo system and changed bowling forever. I mean, Ashwin, why does he copy the carom ball? Who got him the inspiration? It was Mendes. It's a different matter altogether. Mendes got found out after a couple of seasons because excessive video technology, it can make any bowler look more.
That's why he's Tata. No matter how much technology, he's one step ahead of the batsman.
And I mean, he picked 2 wickets today along with Zampa. That was
By the way, a word on, I want to talk about Zampa. Yeah. It's not easy for someone to be just sitting on the bench, suddenly come into the game. Actually, he is the one who started that,
Yes.
that whole difference that MS is talking about power play. It's Zampa actually they got before. We kept what you wanted Ashwin. Somebody must have thought this one will come. That but Zampa was the first one to come into bowl as a spinner, which was a very left field sort of a choice that the captain went with. And he delivered. I think those 2 wickets that he got. From there on, they just couldn't catch that momentum to challenge what
first
Rajasthan
10
did.
overs, you just had 5 boundaries in 1 6. Compare that with Rajasthan, who had already doubled that tally in that first period. So you lost it in the power play itself. And although Dubey got the winning margin, I mean the losing margin down to 30 runs, the damage was already 101 of 42. On this Savai Mansingh wicket, and that too, let's not forget how Sandeep Sharma bowled one of the overs. I think now Sandeep Sharma has established himself one of the best death overs bowler in that Rajasthan setup now. If he continues in that consistency, what a turnaround. He will now emerge as one of the best death bowlers in this IPL.
Were you surprised not to see MS come out ahead of Jadeja?
No.
You're okay.
See, again, it comes down to what it is I said last time when they were facing. They have too many spinners. So he would have waited for the point where they would bring on the pacers. I think he's accepted that at this age, my hand-eye coordination is not the same. I'm probably never going to be able to play spin the
hand-eye
same.
coordination is whacking the pacers.
Back Zampa for a 6 and a 4 by the way in Chepauk.
Yeah.
But he was bowling quicker through the air at that point.
Because it was needed at that time. Chepauk, because of the sluggishness of the wicket, you had to push the ball through quicker. Here, Zampa bowled and he gave Dhoni's team a taste of their own medicine. Variations. Tikshana and Jadeja did that. Zampa said, okay, I'll do the same thing. And remember, he was in Dhoni's team at one point in time. RPS.
Yeah. And he's
6 for 19, he picked up 1. So, he knows the tricks and trades of how to bowl. And he is another enigma. Why don't Australia pick him on a regular basis?
I am surprised.
Very
really surprised. In fact, a lot of IPL teams are also underutilized him. I think he went to RCB, barely got to play at that time also.
Well, RCB,
then he left and went for during COVID.
No, the problem is RCB, he left earlier because of that COVID scare, and then I think RCB didn't like it. That I think he got 2 other players also to go.
Yeah, but he wasn't getting any game there. He's been even in Rajasthan. He's unlucky with the fact that you've got a UZ Chahal and a Ashwin playing there, and so you want to accommodate the foreign players into slots that you desperately need a foreign player. With the spinner slot already taken, I think you can do away with that.
And today Zampa only got a chance because Trent Bolt was injured.
Yeah.
I had something to add to a conversation we were having 2 minutes ago, but okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I couldn't find my way in. Anyways, we were talking about Pathirana, and then we slid into how the coaches are now warming up to the idea of different actions and everything. I had a story when I started bowling. I started off as a pure batter, but then I realized that the game I needed to have multiple dimensions to my game, so I started bowling, and I realized that I also bowled with a sling arm action in spin. So that wasn't very welcomed by a lot of coaches, but then I once or twice I switched coaches, went to different clubs, and there was this one coach particularly who was okay with my action, who instead encouraged it because it would be something different, and then it would be harder for the batsman to read the ball. So that's the point, being that Indian coaches are now at the domestic level, at the grassroots level, are now warming up to the idea of cricket being a more of a instinctive game.
Yeah.
It's not about showing your full face of the bat or having a certain bat lift. It's all about doing what is working for you.
Yeah.
That has been an immense change in grassroots cricket, because if you saw that 6 years ago, if you had gone to a club, I don't think anyone would have let you play a drive or something. But now the mindset is, if it gets you run, it's fine.
Yeah.
If it gets you wicket, it's fine.
When I used to go play cricket, and I'm not talking about 6 years, but let's say 25, 30 years ago.
Okay.
At that time, again, I had some, I mean, no taking names, but some very well-known coaches. So, I used to bowl medium pace as well as bat. So, in batting though, you're never allowed to hit the ball up in the air. If a ball went up, you got scolded at, right? So, every ball had to go. That's changed now, by the way. People clap.
But
nowadays,
when I started, that was there.
Well, I'm surprised it was there till this late, because I saw that in the last 10 years or maybe 15 years, it's okay for you to, in fact, it's encouraged if you can just whack it. At our time, though, ball had to just go. Even if you hit a 4, which was airy-fairy shot, you still got scolded because you hit it up in the air. You could have been out, even though it was a 4. That's one. For bowling, you won't believe. At that time, when I used to have the run-up, I used to run with the ball like this. Okay, my coach said, "No, don't this way. Ball's not going to swing. You should keep it here, to your near your." So, and he would just insist that I do it. So I'm like, no, so run like this, keep it like this. So then that sling will, whatever be the reason. So I'm saying they were so particular. It wouldn't have made any difference, right? But I'm saying that's how,
it used to work.
Yeah, like regimented, and there were certain rules set, and you had to follow what is being told, and you did things in the right way. But I'm glad it's changing, and you're accepting just the way the batsman is, the way he plays, crazy shots. In fact, now we all enjoy those crazy shots.
Yes.
Imagine, and let me give you an example, like let's say Mumbai, which is even more, strict with the way the players play. Imagine 20 years ago, a young kid in Mumbai, Surya Kumar Yadav, would be playing ram shot and all. He'd be like, sent home.
Get out.
Pick up your bags out from here. So, wouldn't have happened.
I mean, Brendan McCullum, I think that was the first innovation I think I saw. Mick scooping Sean Tate.
No, there were lots of. No, first time was Douglas Muraliya.
Oh yeah.
He started
Faridabad,
it. Yeah, Faridabad he did it.
Wow.
I was there at that game, by the way.
Oh.
I was covering that game.
Lovely.
2001 in Faridabad.
Nahar Singh Stadium,
Yes.
right? Yes.
Where he played those scoops.
Zahir Khan.
I might be wrong about this, but even when Sachin Tendulkar started playing the uppercut, wasn't it very...
even
what did
Sehwag
he
was
just
playing.
do?
Yeah, you're right.
Sehwag.
It was usual. It's actually Sehwag who started doing it, but also Sachin would do. Yeah, it was unusual at the time. Then I think Dilshan then made it a habit.
Another one who would play unconventional strokes a lot. Obviously nowadays probably doesn't get as much. Kevin Peterson out, and especially it's not just switch it. At one time I still remember one shot where he took on a peak Brett Lee by going down one knee and sweeping him for a 6.
Oh no, you're talking about Malloy.
No, it was Kevin.
Malloy.
It was KP.
Okay, KP did occasionally, but Malloy used to sweep McGrath, Lee, all at 145, 150. He would sweep them in the stands.
Exactly.
But he didn't play much of cricket.
Yeah, KP, he was doing it international, and this is that KP who was seen as too much of a rebel for English standards. The blue and red hair spiked up everywhere. That KP is going on one knee and smacking Brett Lee for a second. I'm like, what is this guy thinking? This is a guy who bowls 150 for fun. KP would do it, and then of course the switch hit.
But you need a lot of confidence for doing that. And KP was, bordering on,
Bordering
on arrogance.
Bordering?
Yeah, I mean,
come on. I'm a big fan of the guy, but he's as arrogant as they come.
So I first interviewed him when he hadn't even played international cricket. When he was just a A-level, first class cricketer. So I interviewed him at that time. A story I'll share some other day, where even as a first class cricketer who's never played international, he had some massive attitude, like he was the superstar. So I was like,
I think that's what it takes to survive in cricket. You need to be delusional.
Not always, yeah. You can be a Sachin Tendulkar also, yeah. Nothing, no arrogance, nothing.
Not arrogance, just this incredible self-belief.
Yeah, but you don't have to be self-belief. Everyone has to have. Whoever makes it at that level, of course. But I'm saying this.
That attitude of Kevin Peterson at first didn't help him, because
Didn't help him later on either.
Nottinghamshire, but at least he got one club that, okay, we can
Tolerate him.
bear with him. We can tolerate him. That was Hampshire. But in Nottinghamshire, Jason Gallion was the captain at that time. He flung his kit out. Get out.
In fact, recently
What
only I
happened
think.
with the English team?
Yeah, Graham Swan was recently talking about saying that I couldn't stand KP. I don't think he was the only one. He was not. In fact, I will say this: Kevin Peterson comes across, and I'm saying this as a Chelsea fan, by the way. He's also a Chelsea fan, good mates with the likes of Frank Lampard. He's that borderline arrogant Chelsea fan. He's that. Chelsea.
Now borderline for you.
No, he's the borderline arrogant. I don't know. I can't generalize all Chelsea fans, unfortunately, but he does have that tendency of being very cocky, very brash, very arrogant. It worked for him, of course, because I think it was part of his, let's say, appeal
what he
persona.
is.
Yeah.
KP shot himself in the foot in 2012. Tried to get reintegrated, but he chose not to get reintegrated.
Yeah.
That's it. Ironical. For
He
South
was
Africa
a
to not get
maverick.
reintegrated.
He was a maverick in that regard, and truth be told, he couldn't help himself most of the time. Not defending him, but that's just what he was.
No, but with his, it wasn't a facade. It was just inherently him. It was him.
Do you know who his best friend was, by the way, in cricketing
Yeah,
circles?
I know that. Another arrogant bugger who's a news anchor. What's his name?
No, Shane Warne.
No,
Him and Warney were the best of pals.
No, Piers Morgan.
Piers
He's also a very good friend.
That's very weird considering. Actually, yeah, but both of them.
and exactly the same personalities.
Yeah.
The two of them.
They're different in
Though
some
he's
ways.
a Arsenal fan. I mean,
Yeah, he's a gooner and a Ronaldo fanboy.
Oh yeah, big time Ronaldo.
that's okay.
fan.
That's his personal choice. Okay, super chats. Hariharan Vishwanath. He says CSK bat till number 8. Where is Dhoni? He is there to only hit 2 sixes at the end. Once there was Kapil who scored 175 from 17 for 5. Dhoni should lead by example. But we discussed that Hariharan, that would you have liked to bat him higher up? But honestly, all the batsmen that came in, was there anyone ahead of whom Dhoni could have come and won you the game? I don't think so, not in his current form. And see, all of us agree that his powers are waning. He is no more the Superman that he was, and nobody can be. I think he is more there as a mentor, as a captain who's guiding his team. And of course, if need be, if a wicket had fallen early, he would have come out and tried to do the job. But I think the ones that came ahead of him in the current scenario were better suited to finish the game than MS Dhoni. I don't know, unless anyone else feels he should have.
I think there's another angle that not a lot of people may be looking at is Dhoni might be, like Shivam Dubey talked about, that he supported him. I think it's all about letting youngsters take over the game. What I feel is it could be one of the reasons why Dhoni is not coming in earlier, because he wants the youngsters to go in and win you the game or get experience in these kind of conditions and the pressure that you have to take. I think it could be that also.
I mean, to be fair, he did step away from captaincy last year. He had to take it back due to disaster was another matter.
He realized the succession plan is not there.
There is no succession plan.
There isn't any succession plan.
That's why they went hell for leather for Ben Stokes.
Which is why I think he might play 2024 also.
Yeah, especially considering that Stokes is now more focused on the test side of things. Who knows?
Again, they picked him at a wrong year, na? Ashes year in June 2016, in June 16th.
Yeah.
Hardly 2 months away. And he's not going to play another week.
And he'll be leaving towards the end of the tournament.
Yeah, well done.
That's 16 crores well spent.
16 crores well spent.
Okay, Roy SP has some references which I cannot understand, so Siddharth
If
will.
KL Rahul bats the normal way tomorrow, I would request.
What is the normal way? Let's explain that. Like with his poor strike rate is what he's trying to say?
Yes.
Or is that what it is? Okay.
Yes. I would request my fellow TMKOC fan, that's me,
What is TMK?
Tarak Mehta ka Ulta Chashma.
Explain all of that.
Yeah. To show the panel GPL 1, Gokuldam Premier League Season 1.
Okay.
Zabardast Jetha versus Bindas Bhide will be more fun than this.
Then watching KL Rahul bat at his strike, right?
There were two teams. There were two teams called Zabardast Jetha and Bindas Bhide. The punishment was, if you lose, you have to sweep the entire stadium. Because of all the mess that you'll get, the losing team will have to clean the entire stadium. What was the boundary dimensions? 30 meters each side. That was it. So that was why it will be more fun. Absolutely, it will be more fun.
Today in stories no one asked for.
Exactly. I've seen 5 seasons of the GPL.
Next one, Anurag.
And you know who commentated on that match? Irfan Pathan.
What?
Oh.
Irfan Pathan came for that. Yes.
Okay. Saurav Mukherjee says, wish MSD could inject this fearless approach in the test team he led. I mean, how can one lose 11 tests in a row, even if it's away from home? Saurav Mukherjee, very good point. And I had the good fortune of witnessing those defeats live. I'm being sarcastic, both in England as well as Australia. It's safe to say one of the lowest phases of Indian cricket. I agree, which is why, as much as I love MS Dhoni and I think he's the best white ball captain we've ever had, Ganguly fans, you can just stuff it.
You're right there.
Yeah, he is the best white ball captain that India has ever had. But in Test match cricket, I'll tell you why, and the story behind it. I think he naturally didn't take to Test cricket as a player. As a person, he enjoyed the shorter format more, which is why it's anything that you enjoy more, you end up doing well. The problem is, if you look at MS Dhoni as the captain, why is he so successful in white ball cricket? Because I think, I put him in the box of defensive captains, and defensive is not a negative word. Defensive is very, very good in cricket. Why I say defensive? As in, he's good in minimizing damage, and that's what white ball cricket is all about. In today's white ball game, where bowlers are left to slaughter, what a captain can at best do is minimize damage. That's what they do. That okay, we're going out to bat, we're going to get batsman is going to be the more dominant part between the bowler and the batsman. So what do we have to do? We minimize damage, and he's very good at minimizing damage. So for example, if the pass score is 200 in a T20 game, he is the captain who can get his bowlers, set his field placing, make those bowling changes to ensure the team gets below par total, and then it's up to the batsman to chase it down. Same in ODI cricket. So that is why I say defensive, very good at that. But that defensive approach in Test cricket doesn't work, because you're not minimizing damage. In Test cricket, it's all about taking the initiative, leading, which is why Virat, his numbers are exactly the opposite in Test versus ODI. He's a more aggressive attacking captain, which sometimes doesn't work in white ball cricket. Because when you're going out to attack, you end up losing or giving away a lot of runs. Then you want to chase it by doing an outstanding batting performance, which doesn't happen quite often. So I think that's the biggest issue. But in Test cricket, that aggressive captaincy, moving with the game, kind of helps. I felt sometime that MS also, as I said, one is just natural instinct of captaincy, the other just inherently him loving white ball cricket more than Test match cricket. I think sometimes in the middle of a game he would let the game drift as captain, and it wasn't a great time. So if you make the all-time T20 team, Test team, he's going to be my captain for India. But when it comes to Test cricket, ODI and T20 team, he'll be my captain for India. But Test team, I'd be wary. I don't think I'll go.
It was quite ironic because see, we got the first glimpse of MS Dhoni's Test captaincy in that 2008 series. Kumble had retired after Delhi.
Anurag, next minute.
Nagpur, Australia were fighting a losing battle. I mean, they needed to essentially win. They were also behind in the over rate. Ponting was going to get banned. What did MS Dhoni do? That 7-1 field. It was a novelty at that time. 7 players on the offside. He told his bowlers, bowl there, you'll frustrate Australia. We felt at that time, maybe this is a new thing. Wow, 7-1 offside field placements. But then after that, in overseas conditions, as it came on, first I think most of the peak batters unfortunately were not in form. Dravid's slump coincided after in Australia. Lakshman's slump coincided. Tendulkar's slump coincided. Plus the bowling attack that he had. Zaheer was injured for England.
No, England, so not Zaheer. In fact, I remember at that time doing a story. I think they had lost about 11 odd players through that tour, which came back. So plenty of injuries. Harbhajan, Yuvraj, Zaheer, everyone came back during. I think MS Dhoni is a lone warrior standing. So I agree, all of those misfortunes. But I think the Indian Test team really needed a change at that time, and the selectors wanted to. Just that they got vetoed by a man sitting in Chennai. But I think Indian Test team needed a change of captaincy. That was my firm belief, having seen it so close. And only being a well-wisher of the Indian team. I think
under his captaincy, we went to number 1 in the Test rankings 2009.
Yeah, that also you got very lucky. You got the pitches that you got in New Zealand.
Yes,
unbelievable. I went on that tour. I couldn't believe my eyes that these are the pitches that were on offer. That just was in New Zealand.
I know. Harbhajan Singh taking 6 wickets. Spinner in New Zealand.
Yeah. No, you could like, I remember, which is a great knock by the way, Lakshman Gambhir.
Of course, Napier.
But imagine, could you have thought of a test match in New Zealand being played like, where you're digging your heels in like a Nagpur type match where you're surviving for 2 days on a sluggish pitch? That was in New Zealand.
You could think of that in the Basin Reserve though.
Sometime, but even then with the windy conditions, the ball moving certain days, yes, a flatter pitch, all right, but those conditions very tough.
Makkalam 302. He batted for 2.5 days.
Yeah.
To deny India rarest of rare win at the Basin Reserve. So, okay, so Shaheen Qureshi is like asking us 2010 to 2020, in which players will be in all-time 11 and who will be the skipper? Big fan of Nikhil, want to meet you from Jaipur. Big RCB VK fan. Lovely.
Yes.
Nice to meet you, Shaheen.
No, we are also VK fans.
We're just
an
not RCB fan.
Not RCB fan.
This is the same one.
So someday we will meet. Yeah, whenever I come to Jaipur, I'll let you know. I'll put it on social media.
Same question.
Yeah, that he's right. So,
all-time 11 and who will be the skipper? 2010 to 2020.
Is he talking about IPL or India? What is it?
All-time 11, no?
Hey, yeah, that's a very expensive question.
2010 to 2020.
I think we can... Skipper, who will be the skipper? I think we can answer that.
No, you can pick a player also. In which player will be in all-time? 2010 to 20, there will be Sachin Tendulkar. He's playing around that time.
Yeah, 2012 he
2013.
13 he retired.
There'll be...
So he's there. There is Dravid there, who's playing at the time. And you're talking about a test team, I'm guessing, right? All-time 11. Okay, let's assume it's test. There could be a VVS Lakshman.
Gautam Gambhir.
All-time 11, no.
No?
No, he won't make it in an all-time.
All-time 11 openers are Virendra Sehwag, Sunil Gavaskar. Done.
Yeah, but 2010 to 20.
No. He's saying from that time, who can make it to the playing 11. So that's what he's saying. In which players will be in all-time 11. So playing in that decade, anyone who was playing in that decade who can make it to the all-time.
Okay.
All-time 11.
AB de Villiers?
All-time is self-explanatory.
Would you have?
No, Indian.
Acha, only Indian. Okay.
Yeah. All-time Indian 11. Zach could be. Zach could be that. Kumble retired earlier.
Yeah.
So that was. Bhajji was there.
Wasn't Lakshman?
I took Lakshman's name.
Yeah.
I took Lakshman's name. Bhajji was playing, so Bhajji could be there. Ashwin had come in by that time, so Ashwin will be in conversation. Jadeja. No, I'm test team.
Test team UV doesn't.
Yeah. Come on, wake up, everyone.
Ashwin.
Somebody is saying ABD is like test team, all-time Indian 11.
No, he's not specified. We're assuming.
Yeah, but we've put certain parameters now, so hear it. What the parameters are.
Another guy unlucky, the Murli Vijay.
No, all-time 11. Gavaskar, Virendra Sehwag, your opener. Where were
2010 to 20.
Arey Baba, players who played in that time, can they make it to an all-time 11? Yeah. Not, how can 2010 to 20 be all-time?
In which players will be in all-time 11? I thought the sample size for that decade and all-time 11.
This question is going to be...
All-time 11 is the greatest all-time. All-time means all-time 11. So players that played between 2010 to 20, how many do you think will make it to an all-time 11?
I just said 5 or 6. That's it.
We've discussed it.
That's it. 5, 6. That's
okay.
it.
Captain. Test cricket, who will be my captain?
Virat.
Yeah, but different times
That's a tough question, though.
Yeah, it is tough. Yeah.
But I think Virat's approach kind of makes him stand out.
Yeah, but also, he's captaining at a different time.
VK.
Yeah, true.
So that'll be, that'll be a good debate. Maybe Virat could be the captain, but what if, set the cat amongst the pigeon. What if Rohit Sharma wins the World Test Championship, the only Indian captain to be the world champion in Test cricket?
I still don't think it will.
Well, won't it make a difference? Won't you go? It's like a World Cup of cricket. I'm just saying.
Still.
So, like when you will look at an ODI captain, there will be Kapil Dev's name discussed because of World Cup winner. I'm saying we're saying it now because it's not happened. Once it does, it changes a lot of things. Anyway, it'll be an interesting debate then.
Yeah.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. But for now, maybe VK, we could settle in.
VK, yes.
Okay. Okay, SP Roy says Gargi is right. She's talking about the apartheid problem since 61.
Yes,
70,
I couldn't
1970,
remember
yeah.
the term.
No,
That's why I
but
didn't-
apartheid problem, what has got to do with Graham Smith?
it did.
No.
No.
All those things like started culminating into the.
See, the problem is when South Africa became the republic in 1961. At that time, you already had the apartheid government. 1970 was the last tour that was taken. After that, 22 years, there was a total
Yeah.
sporting boycott.
Correct.
If the referendum that F.W. de Klerk had planned at that time, if it had failed, then South Africa would not have gotten re-entry because the Gleneagles agreement had said that no sporting contract at that point in time. So, 92, apartheid was abolished. South Africa, at that time they were known as the Springboks, they came back.
Next one.
So, that is why the referendum and all this, it's not related to Graham Smith at all.
Yeah. Also, fixing had happened by then, as in that the
Yes.
matter had finished, they'd moved on. I mean, in India's case, it was true because Ganguly then took over, so that there was a transition. But Graham Smith came much later. Karthik K is saying, is KL Rahul more concerned about playing correct shots and looking good technically rather than winning game, which matters the most? Very interesting point, Karthik. Now, I'll tell you, a lot of players have this. For example, you should read Sanjay Manjrekhar's book. Have you guys read it? One of the very good autobiographies. But he talks about now, he says that I was so obsessed with looking correct because again came from Mumbai School of Batting where everything had to be correct, that I forgot that you need to be effective too. Just I needed to look good all the time. I needed to be playing shots correctly. If ugly runs came, I wasn't happy. And those are things that you need to, it's more about controlling your ego, where you perceive yourself as an ex-player or one of the stylish players and the runs are not coming that way, then you end up giving away your wicket, and that is what happens. So I think that is an interesting bit that really needs to be looked at. Does KL Rahul also have that? It'd be interesting. Maybe he's the best person to answer that. Maybe if we interview him next time, we could ask him. But it's an interesting thought, Karthik.
It is.
Okay, as Roy
SP Roy again, there were only 3 seasons of GPL. Yes, I do agree with that. Also, we remember Parthiv also commended. Yes, I forgot about Parthiv Patel also. Yes, he had commended Jethalal for his innings. Today, Tappu was a commentator in IPL.
Commentator.
Really? Oh, I don't know that part.
It's all Spanish to me.
Next one.
It's all Spanish to me.
Yeah.
That's okay. There's so many people. Let's see the poll result.
Okay. Oh, Bhavya Gandhi was doing. Okay, that's good.
Okay, so who is
Venkatesh
more
Iyer.
unfairly treated? Venkatesh Iyer leading the poll, followed by Shivam Dubey. And as much as our good friend Siddharth tried to push Vijay Shankar, he still finishes third in our.
But 24% believe he was unfairly treated.
Oh, that's okay. You can get polls and you'll get people agreeing for a lot of despicable things.
Exactly.
More so despicable than this. So we're good.
I mean, why not? Why despicable?
No, I mean,
if you-
I'm not saying this is despicable. I'm saying you'll get things more despicable where even 1% will agree. That doesn't make it right.
But still, I mean, look at it. If you look at Dubey's yardsticks and this, it was the same. It's the same. Unfairly treated. And because of that old selection panel that was in 2019, they sowed the seeds of chaos.
Call Arun, no? Please.
Oh, then you're here for a very long night then.
No, we'll go. Y'all continue.
I'm dug my heels in for my major argument.
Okay, quickly gonna take a few comments before we wind up. You've got Pratik Mandal saying, but Rohit Sharma is not an all-time test captain 11, sir, though he wins the WTC. How will he be captain? Okay, Pratik, your point taken. Piyush Nandre is saying, Ishan Sharma and Cheteshwar Pujara, even Pant may be a reserve keeper if he extended to 2023. No, but we're not extending it to 2023.
Then though you're changing the ballpark.
I don't know, his point is right. Pant may be the keeper.
I was just about to point that
Yeah,
out.
but he's not in
forgot
that.
Pant.
He's not in that time frame. That
10 to
he-
20, he's
Yeah.
not there.
He was there from 17 to 20.
Yeah. So not there. Is that it?
Go down.
Anurag. How can you miss Rahul Dravid? Varendra Agarwal is saying we didn't miss
We
Rahul
didn't.
Dravid. We took his name right at the start. Yeah. So we've taken Rahul Dravid's name. Jasprit Bumrah not now. You can't. Anyway, he doesn't come in that qualify in that phase. So Shane's yawning. So
No,
it's
but
clearly
10 to
time for us
20, 10 to
go.
20 he would
it
come,
was-
no?
No, 0 to 10, I think.
No, 10 to 20.
10 to 20.
He does actually.
Oh, 10 to 20?
Yeah, it was 10 to 20.
Ah, then he
Shami,
does.
Bumrah.
Then to everyone comes. Then to Pant also comes.
But yes, actually he would
Pant
come.
also
Yeah.
comes. So, I thought it was still 10. Maybe I was mistaken. Then to a lot of them come. Yeah, if it's still 20, then there is Pant who comes in. But just with Bumrah, not now because he's got injured. So that's why. So Virat will be in the 11. Of course he will be. Ehsan
Yes,
Ali.
Ehsan Ali, correct.
The argument was over captaincy. So we'll see. Ishant Sharma, Piyush, I'm not too sure. But we'll look. I mean, yeah, he's been a long-serving 100 test matches. But again, this is a debate. You'll have to look at numbers and sit and discuss. And also, you put a timeline in place.
Yeah.
Because also the timeline in place, you're going to look at all-time 11. Then Kumble will come in. Zahir Khan does come in, and so lot to ponder over. That will require another 1 hour.
Nehraji also. But
No, Nehraji won't make it test team. No.
No, test team unfortunately was the word.
Yeah, won't. I mean, by the way, if you look at numbers, Shami's numbers are incredible.
Yep. Mohammad Shami, yes.
He'll have to look at by the time he retires. We'll look at. Chalo, okay. See you. Thank you so much for your company this Thursday evening, night, morning, Friday morning, whatever. We'll see you tomorrow at the start of the game that is between
Lucknow Super Giants and Punjab Kings.
So what we have concluded from today is number 1 in the points table, go Rajasthan Royals.
Yep.
And tomorrow's game will also make a big difference as to what happens in that top slot. So interesting matches coming up.
Yep, indeed. And building up to the double header, which will be very important, because now then you'll establish a gap between the 4 and the
Double
remainder.
header is Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're also building up to that, but Saturday it's not that interesting. Sunday there are very good games.
What are the matches on Saturday?
Saturday, I think one is a KKR GT game.
How can you say that's not interesting?
One of
How
the-
dare
one
you?
of the
Slander!
games.
Slander!
Slander, yep.
Oh, Preet Singh saying Vanakkam, good morning,
morning.
bye bye.
He's in the US.
Bye bye, Vanakkam.